Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever episode 17 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I am Tim Gettys. I'm joined alongside the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller.
Hey.
Good to be here with you today.
We got my boy Alfredo
Hi.
Diaz. Alfredo plays over on Twitch.
Hi.
How's your whole Twitch thing going?
Good. Yeah. It's just fun.
Good.
It's just fun.
What have you been streaming lately?
H1Z1. Just random encounters with people, role playing.
Cool.
It's been.
What are you role playing as?
I usually just pick people up, and then from there I kind of just
Feel it out.
force the situation, feel it out.
Fredo Cab Confessions.
Usually it's just
I
like,
like
that. Who were you in this life before the zombie apocalypse hit? And people give like random stories, and we
Do
kind
they
of just roll
really?
with it.
That's
Yeah.
fun. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you guys excited about?
Do you murder him right away?
I mean, eventually I gotta murder him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always just like.
How often do you
struggle.
get killed in H1Z1? Is it just chill where everybody's like trying not to kill each other now, or is it still just anarchy?
It's still anarchy, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's the kind of thing where it's just like, well, I mean, I play Battle Royale, so it's like, how far do I go using this person, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, Colin and I would be stronger the longer we go on, but once we hit, 5 last people, then it's like,
Gotta get close. Gotta start thinking.
it's like, when does he go?
Yeah, when does he go?
The question is if.
Yeah.
If he goes.
What have you guys been playing lately?
I've been playing State of Decay Year 1 Survival Edition,
yeah.
which is a complicated name. This is the first time you've ever asked me that question on a show, and I can actually talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've been embargoed. I've been playing this thing like crazy.
Yeah.
Haven't been able to talk about it. It's so good. It's just hitting the nail right
Hitting
in
the
the
good
head.
stuff?
It's it. Christine
stuff.
checks in every like 3 hours, and she's like, "This game looks boring because you're just doing the same thing." I'm like, I know.
Now, when you say she checks in, does it mean she's laying in bed already? So does it mean
I've been laying in bed recently. She's been on the PC terminal. She's been playing The Witcher. So,
PC terminal.
Yeah, that's what they call it.
I like
Terminal
that.
hacking and whatnot.
Yes.
So she'll look over, and it's just me taking a rucksack back to my truck to go to the next house to get another rucksack full of food.
How's the frame rate?
That's still not great.
Oh, okay.
It's still very much.
still fun to
It's
play,
still
but
very
yeah.
much State of Decay. I mean, Undead Labs, they have like all these great ideas, but they're still a small studio, so that stuff still shines through. It's not running amazingly, you know what I mean? But it doesn't.
Yeah.
It also isn't as bad as like. Remember when we did our Let's Play? We started driving and it was like that was like a rare one-off. It's not getting that bad often, but it's still like it's still the same lovable, janky little game it always has been. Of like this open world, go investigate and see what happens.
So
kind
we'll
of
pick
thing.
it up.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention this, but what else runs really smooth? GTA 5 on the PC.
Been hearing
Wow.
good things about it.
It is beautiful.
Really?
Yeah, it is really beautiful. And it controls so well on a mouse and keyboard.
Really?
Get that shit out of here.
PC mustard race.
Oh, God, I hate you so much. What about you, Colin? What
PC
you been
Mustard
playing?
Race. I've been playing a game called Medieval Defenders on Vita, which is just like a tower defense game. Bastion on PS4. I finally got around to playing that. It's awesome. I'm like 4 or 5 years behind.
Bastion's amazing.
And Shovel Knight comes out today, so on PS4, Vita, and PS3. So life stops until I get that platinum. And platinum's gonna be very hard. Beat it without dying.
Damn.
All sorts of
Jesus.
stuff. Well, I'll be able to do it. I got the trophy in Mega Man 10. I was talking to Greg about for beating it without dying. And Mega Man 10 is way harder than Shovel Knight. There was a Mega Man 10 trophy to beat it without getting hit, which I couldn't do.
Holy crap.
Took way too much patience. I can get through the first 8 stages without getting hit, but once you get to Wily's Castle, it's too hard.
I don't know if you guys know about this. There's some.
Jeez, that's amazing.
I heard that there's a trophy in Mortal Kombat X that like people still don't even know about. It's like some secret. It's a secret
Interesting.
trophy.
I didn't hear about it.
I don't know. That sounds
Secret
cool though.
trophy.
I like
That
things
sounds
like that. I like when things happen. Like it takes a while for people to figure out what the hell they need to do.
Yeah.
Because when you know all this shit from before the game even comes out, just reading the trophy names, that's
Yeah.
no fun.
Agreed.
Yeah. Recently, I've been playing Sonic the Hedgehog 1.
On Genesis?
No, so when I was doing Colin and Greg Live with Greg, they announced the next wave of Sega 3D Classics on a 3DS to help with the library, and
The ever
growing
expanding,
library of the 3DS,
vaunted
Here we
3DS
go.
library.
3DS library.
With Sega Genesis games.
So they announced Sonic the Hedgehog 2 3D, and I was like thinking about it, and I was like, I don't know if the 3D would be cool in that or whatever. And I was like, it could work because of the way that game looks. And then I was like, I'm gonna download Sonic 1 and play through it again, because also we played Sonic Boom recently,
And
that was goddamn
really
travesty.
what a great game that
But
was.
it's like, and then recently Greg did this Nerd Court thing, which you should go check out over on youtube.com/Skybound.
Skybound.
Very good. That was very funny.
It was really, really, really funny.
Links
You should
right
definitely
here.
check
I
it
can't
out.
believe it
Kevin.
wasn't scripted.
Yeah,
Me neither.
no.
Right? It really felt scripted. It was a thing where it was Greg versus one of the Warp Zone guys, Sonic versus Mario, and
But reverse roles. I was Mario. They were Sonic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a surprise because Greg is a,
I
Sega
think
dude.
having been a Sega fanboy, I know better than most that Sonic is garbage.
Yeah. Well,
And
so
he deserves
see, that's
to burn
my
in
thing.
hell for everything he's
From
done to
watching
me.
that, it's like I will never argue that Sonic's better than Mario, but I do think that Sonic gets a bad rap for his earlier stuff. I don't think that they're perfect games, but I was like, there has to be something. Like, because
So you went back to
hanging
play
out with
one?
Colin really makes me question a lot of my decisions from my younger years.
Yeah.
As
And I'm
it
like,
should.
I was like, there's no way they're as bad as I thought they were.
Yeah.
Or they're as bad as now Colin's making me think they were. Because I remember them being something.
Yeah.
Sonic 1 has its issues, but I remember 2 and specifically 3 being the shit. So I'm like, I'm going to play through all of them. I've been playing through 1 for the first time ever, trying to get all the Chaos Emeralds and all that stuff. And I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's good. It's damn good. Think you guys were wrong about this one.
Just run full speed.
No.
There's no way.
That's only
See
like
something
the
that's
first,
gonna hit you.
the first 2 levels. That's it.
The first game I ever got was Sonic on Game Gear, and I hated it.
Well, that's a mistake.
I hated it.
Game
You
Gear.
can only
The
play it for
first
like
game
10
you
minutes
ever
at a time.
got was Sonic on Game Gear.
Yep.
So
Game
like
Gear was
you
your
got
first platform?
Game Gear was your first.
Oh yeah.
system?
I mean, the first system I ever got was Game Gear, and the
Wow.
game was Sonic.
Man.
That's bizarre.
What a poor child
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah.
Poor child.
Here's what I want to know. You tweeted the other day, Fredo,
Yeah.
that you're thinking about building another PC
Yes.
so that you can have one gaming PC dedicated and one streaming PC dedicated.
Mhm.
How, are you gonna do this? Why are you doing this? What's
Because games like The Witcher and like GTA, I mean, like I have a beastly like graphics card. I have like a GTX 980, and I have a really good CPU as well. But it gets to the point where when you're streaming and you're running a game at like ultra settings, it's not the graphics card that's the issue. It's the CPU, and it just can't handle all that.
Sure.
So the temp runs at like 95%,
You need more fans.
which is dangerous.
Yeah, get
That's
the
the issue.
cooling units in there.
You need
Yeah,
water.
we,
You need
yeah.
hydro.
Oh my god, the water. I mean, what a lot of streamers do though is what they essentially build a separate PC just for streaming.
Yeah.
You know, it's less expensive. I
Sure.
mean, obviously, it still costs like $1,000, but like just specifically for streaming, and then you just hook up your gaming rig into that streaming computer as if it was a console,
Right.
and then you just play that way.
We're monsters, ladies and gentlemen.
I know.
Can we just imagine being younger versions of ourselves, looking to the future and being like, you're gonna need 2 badass computers to do what the fuck you want to do. Holy shit!
It's not
that's
necessary, but it's just like when I have a top of the line graphics card and I have to scale back, you know,
Yeah.
the graphic settings because I'm streaming simultaneously. Like I'll stream, scale back the settings. I'm like, all right, yeah, this looks good, and then I'll like turn out the stream and still play, turn up the settings. I'm like, wow,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
am
yeah.
missing
I'm
out.
cheating myself of the experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that is not the first topic for the day.
Nope.
The first
goodness.
topic is.
You got no rigmarole? You're not
Huh?
gonna tell them where
Oh
to
yeah, the
subscribe?
rigmarole. You're
There's
right.
a whole rigmarole.
I always forget the rigmarole.
You
on
have been
the
trying to
show.
remove
Process
the
it
rigmarole from
Yeah.
the show, and I'm here to make sure
It's
there's
not
more
so much that I'm
rigmarole
trying
than
to,
ever.
It's just like, it just happens. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Kind of Funny Gamescast. It's essentially the Game Over Greggy show, but it's about video games. So every day you get a different topic. We're going to talk it out for your amusement. Can I combine all of the
Sure,
different
shove it
intros?
all in
I
there.
don't
Say
even know
greetings
about
and
that.
salutations.
Yeah, greetings and salutations.
You're having like a stroke.
Yeah, that's what happens. There's Oreos somewhere, right?
Sure.
Anyways, Monday through Thursday, you can get the topics broken out over on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Or if you want to get it early, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Get the whole thing early. Or else that next Friday, you can get the MP3, you can get the video, you can get all the things. And it's going to be great. This is a great show, Greg. Things are going awesome.
Yeah. So you like to think.
Shit, we forgot to record it.
So I've got you into the first part of the rigmarole.
Yes.
Promoting the content. Now it's time to get you to the next part.
Okay.
Selling out.
Selling
so
out.
like here, I've been doing a lot of interviews
Yeah.
since we launched the whole thing. And one thing I always talk about, right, is that my goal is on January 5th, 2016, 1 year removed from our launch date, our independence, is that we're at least getting close where the videos, views and sponsorships and ads and stuff is making the same amount of money or close to the same amount of money as Patreon. I don't like that for our Patreon kids, they feel like they have to do everything for us, right? That they're our only source of income. So I went and sold this show for you.
Okay.
So I got an ad I have many ads today
Okay.
for you to read. How many
I'm up to the challenge, Greg.
how many ads can I give you today? How many ads can I insert in this show?
3.
3? This is number 1 for you.
Number 1.
You get to read this.
Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is ProFlowers. ProFlowers.com. Sponsoring the show. Are you guys familiar with ProFlowers?
I am not.
Really?
Please educate
No.
me.
Have you ever used it? It's essentially a website you go and then you can order flowers and then they send it to whoever you want. You can send it to yourself, but that'd be kind of weird. Or you can
kinda
send
funny,
it.
though.
It is kind of funny.
You're at the office.
I actually like that.
You got a crush on somebody. They don't have the crush back. You send yourself
you
the
go.
flowers. Then
Yeah.
you look at
That old chestnut.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you can just send it. You can send it to your girlfriend. You can send it to your mom, which is a good idea for Mother's Day, which is what they're talking about here. So here's the whole rigmarole of this. If you go to proflowers.com and you click on the little blue microphone in the top right corner and type in patron, so that's Patron.
You're a patron of the arts, yeah.
Yes, or a patron of our Patreon.
I was trying to stay away from Patreon so as not to confuse people. Just patron.
I like confusing people.
God damn it! I'm gonna whip you into shape here.
But if you do this order lasts until Friday
Okay.
at midnight.
Okay.
If you do it before then, you can get 100 blooms with a free glass vase for just $20.
Oh.
So the blooms are 20. The blooms are flowers. If you didn't know.
I didn't know that
that.
There
terminology.
you go.
That's
There you
actually
go.
interesting.
Yes. I googled that. Blooms are flowers, and then you get the free glass vase, $20. You can send to whoever you want. You can send it to your mom because it's Mother's Day.
When's
and then you
Mother's
don't
Day?
even need to worry about Mother's Day. Mother's Day is like May 14th, 15th,
12th. It's coming
Somewhere
up.
It's in
around
that
there,
area.
somewhere around my birthday. Yeah.
I think
May
Mother's Day is
11th,
one of those
5th.
fluctuating things,
Yeah,
right?
it's always on the Sunday or whatever. Yeah.
It's always on the Sunday
It
or
is.
whatever.
Yeah.
Nailed it. That's
It's
kind
second
of funny.
Sunday of
Helping
May.
you once again be a better son.
So that'll be good. But you don't
Or
need to
daughter.
send it to your mom. If you don't like her, you don't need to do that. You can send it to your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your just friend. If you want your friend to be more than friends, this is a good way to let them know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
it'll be cool. You can
Or
go
a
over to
stranger.
proflowers.com, click on that blue microphone, type in patron,
Yeah.
and then bam, you
There
get
you go.
your 100 blooms with a free
See,
glass face.
here's
There's
the
one
thing.
of mine. There's one. There's
Here-
more.
There's one.
There's
Here's
more.
Okay.
here's
Two
the
more
thing.
sponsorships coming
Okay,
your way.
I have to say about that. So that person that you like,
Mm-hmm.
what day is it? It's April 21st. Literally any other day except for Valentine's Day, go order them flowers and send it to them. They
Okay.
look baller as shit.
Yeah, that's what I
true.
was thinking.
That is true.
The last few months, I've become accustomed to going and getting Cheryl flowers for just really no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Oh, no,
if
this
you
is-
want to do
and
that
it's-
from now on, go to proflowers.com.
That's what. Now I'm going to do that, and I'll have them delivered to her job directly.
There
See,
you
that's
go.
a baller move too.
100 blooms.
Yes.
That's a lot of flowers for $20.
In a glass vase?
100.
That's what I'm most excited about. You can see through it. All right, anyways, moving on. Topic number 1 comes from Patreon,
Hey.
from our boy Jordan Smith.
What up, Jordan Smith?
Jordan
Jordan Smith, thank you
Hey
for your
guys,
support.
so I started thinking about this a few weeks ago. With the constant parching of games, always online, and the general lack of feeling of ownership over the games we buy these days, does it still make sense to keep our games? I'm going to pause this for a second and ask Colin a very serious question. What is parching?
What,
Do you think
does
he's
he mean
poaching?
or is it parsing? Let me see. Can I see the question?
Yes.
See it in context. Sorry,
I was
Jordan.
confused with the constant parching. I don't know what that means. Parching of games. The constant parching of games, always on. Because I thought maybe he was saying parsing, like the piecemeal approach to games, like the DLC.
That's
kind of thing.
We'll read the question. Does that fit in? Could we with that lens, does it work?
Okay. And the general lack of feeling of ownership over the games we buy these days, does it still make sense to keep our games? I still have most of my games from the PSX forward and can play them at any time I wanted. In 15 to 20 years, will we be able to say the same thing for current gen consoles? Thanks, friends. Keep up the good work. Yes.
Okay.
I think he means parsing.
Okay. That makes sense. Like
I'm gonna go with
breaking it
approaching,
up. Yeah.
yeah.
You're breaking it up. DLCs and whatnot, expansions.
Yeah, like The Walking Dead. For
Online multiplayer. Yeah, yeah.
This is a really interesting question to me because I'm a fan of physical games, physical goods in general. I like collecting things. I like having them. I like knowing that I own it. And when it's digital, I don't feel like I own it.
Sure.
It's always been an issue for me. And this brings up the interesting dilemma of why this is such a big deal to me. Of in the future, when licenses run out or whatever, I don't care. I still own my copy of Tony Hawk 3. I can play that whenever I want. But when licenses run out on these digital things, they lose the license, take it off the storefronts and all that stuff. You can't play it anymore. These are issues. So when we're really looking down the line, when our PS3s stop working, how are we going to play those games?
Right. That's the big problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No. And now, does he mean it in the digital sense, or does he mean it in the fact that if I have my disc base of DC Universe Online and I try to plug that in 10 years from now, maybe that game's not around?
Well, I mean that
Because digital is a different rigmarole altogether.
Yeah.
The fact that once I get rid of my PS3 and I'm done with it, I still have all these games I technically own lost in the digital ether, right? That are attached to my PSN, but I don't have an easy way to play them. I don't have a way to jump on. Not to mention that when 30 years from now Sony closes down, PlayStation shuts down, right? There is no more PSN. There is nothing to connect to. I never get those games. Whereas if Nintendo closed up tomorrow, you'd still have your Super Nintendo and all those games and plug and play and have a great time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's funny because you were talking about you have your copy of Tony Hawk 3 on PS1, 2 on PS2. You'll be hard pressed to find a PS2 that works in 20 years.
Yeah.
So that's I think people are kind of skipping the whole thing that the movement to digital is going to ensure that we can play a lot of these games in the future because they're going to be available as data and not as hard cartridges or discs that you have to put into a console. It's not going to work. What I think a lot of people find right now is Atari 2600's work and NES's top loaders especially work and SNES's work, Genesis's work. But when you start introducing moving parts with PS1 and Saturn and all of those, like those consoles are you're going to be really hard pressed to find a working PS1 in 20 years. Like that's just the fact, you know. And I still think that like my 2600 still works and my original NES from '85 still works, but it's because it's not moving, it's not doing anything. Mm-hmm. So I think that you have to kind of look at it in the other way, in my opinion, which is that physical media is going to die. It's going to die. It's going away forever. And it's imminent and it's going to happen. It's already happening. And you can see that Nintendo is a really indicative example of this. Nintendo has the lowest digital buy-in you would think from their audience, that, you know, a kind of a younger audience, a more casual audience. And yet they always show their numbers about, well, this game sold 200,000 copies, including 80,000 digitally. That's almost, you know, that's an extraordinary amount of copies. That number's slowly going to grow. To me, it's about more accepting what's going to happen and looking at the bright side. The bright side is that these games will be available forever, unless there's a fucking EMP explosion over the United States. These things are going to be on servers forever, and games are going to become cheaper.
Yeah,
games are already cheaper than they were when we were kids, and they're going to become even cheaper. So because there's not going to be physical media anymore, and this allows people to explore the middle ground that we always talk about. That's gone now. You know, what's stopping someone from making a $30 retail game? They don't do it because they don't want to be looked at as a budget title. But if that's a digital only title, that looks like a premium buy. Yeah. So there's a lot of positives, I think.
But I mean, I think there is a lot of good from it, but I think most of the issues I have it's the licensing stuff. Because if it was just the game, if all the games were available, then it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But because there's some games that I'll never play again just because of they use some song, like, or it's going to be a weird-ass version of Crazy Taxi that I don't want to play.
Yeah, where they don't have the Offspring in it.
Yeah,
it wasn't the same.
It's just not the same.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I just think that you have to look at it like from a more pragmatic standpoint, that you can have these games, but I think people are living in La La Land if they think they're going to turn their PS2 on in fucking 30 years and it's going to work. You know, like, and play these games and their memory cards aren't going to be wiped and all this kind of stuff. It's like, unfortunately, that's just the way it kind of is. I do agree with you that the licensing issues, that's an issue.
You and I are talking from a different perspective because I think we've already given up on collecting, having all these
I don't
things.
want.
You're
I don't
still
want the
there, right? Like, but I'm always the guy that says old game's old, right? Like, I traded in all my stuff growing up to buy the next system and stuff, and I only regretted it once or twice. And now I'm totally like, well, thank God I don't have an SNES and you know, every system I ever owned following me around in a trunk because I just don't have anywhere to put them. But it's just like for this guy right now, he's like, you know, in 30 years, what game are you going to want to go back and play like that? You know what I mean? They're like, we look at re-releases and we look at the eShops and they're going to be there in some respect. Like, but you're more of a guy who wants to have every cartridge and every system and everything's still there.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting to look at just games in general right now. Like, they're so different than they used to be. Like, before it was just like the experience, you can have it and that's it. But now it's like Halo 2, right? Yeah. It comes out and they shut down the servers and it's like, well, that game's useless now.
Yeah, that game's dead.
I mean, at least the online is.
Same with
like
Mag.
Exactly. RIP
Calling
Mag.
all cars.
Yeah,
that'll never be the same.
And then you're seeing now like games like GTA 5 where they're taking songs out, they're patching it and like adding new songs in, which is awesome. But then taking songs out, which is like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. But I mean, I guess that's just like the world we live in now, where it's like it is this ever updating thing.
I mean, my whole thing is just I play a lot of games, but whether or not you agree with the whole trading in a GameStop system or how that goes, I always end up just trading games back in. So if I don't have a physical copy, it's like, you know, I pick up NBA 2K every year, but it's like I could, after I'm done with it for a couple months, I could trade in and get like $30 extra or something like that. And whether or not you agree with that pricing, yeah, that's a whole another debate. But I could use that towards something else. But if all my stuff is digital, like with GTA on the PC, I was sitting there, it's like, I really want it, but once I buy this and I'm not gonna play this in like a year, like I could give this up. If I actually had a physical copy on the console, I could just give it up like I did like with the 360 version, right? Mm-hmm. So that's my biggest thing, is that I'm just gonna have like this giant. I'm gonna look at like
your Steam library,
like yeah, my Steam library, and like here's all these things I no longer play. Like, oh look, the past 5 NBA 2Ks. If I had a physical copy, I could have gotten something back out of it, but now I can't. It's cool. It's really convenient. Like I love the convenience factor, but yeah, that's my thing. It's just like this big, huge digital library of stuff that could have been worth something.
It's the way that you fight that though, right? Like you do fight the used game market that way, and I think that's why console makers for sure are catching on and trying to figure out how to do that, and right now biding their time, right, until they can make that move and make the digital version of Uncharted 5 $10 cheaper, $20 cheaper than the copy you're gonna hold, because then you have that money, and you don't have to worry about losing that money, and that's Steam's thing. I look at my Steam library and it's just like, man, there's a lot of games in here. And I don't stop there and rarely do I stop there and think about how much each one of those cost me or how much what that library is quote unquote worth. You know what I mean? You don't think about it that way.
It's just the cost to enter, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that people just have to look at things in a more practical way, which is that it's nice. Like I have fucking shit ton of NES and SNES games in my house, and I have all my PS1, PS2 games at home and all that kind of stuff, but I don't expect that I'm gonna go into my attic in 10 years and like plug that PS2 in and have like an experience on it. It's just like that's kind of in the past. Like in a way, the digital revolution has been a blessing. It's just that you have to get the stakeholders and the licensees on board in a more effective way, because games do disappear even from PSN and Xbox Live.
Turtles in Time.
Yeah, Turtles in Time is a good example, because like so they need, like, especially the stakeholders, the platform holders need to just figure out a licensing agreements that say like this is available in perpetuity. If you put it on the platform, it's not coming down,
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's unreasonable, especially if they're going to be making millions of dollars, which they will on specific games there. So I think that we have to look at it. These old games will be available, and I don't encourage people to emulate games, but there'll always be emulations of these games too. So it's not like there are people doing good work out there making sure that they archive all of these games. A lot of these games are going to disappear forever. And they are making digital backups of games, and the Library of Congress and a lot of other places are getting involved in these kinds of things. So like, to make sure that we have backups and like real copies of these games that can be played in some fashion. But we won't be playing Mario 1 on NES in 50 years. We'll be playing it on a different console, and that's the blessing. That you don't have to like dig this old shit up and hope that you have a cartridge that works and hopes you have hardware that works. Like, I love gaming collectors and game collections and stuff like that, and I have my own, but good luck like with these newer like a PS4 in 50 years. Like, you're not gonna find a fucking working PS4, and if you did, it's not gonna connect to the PSN. It probably won't work, so it's like it's for the best that this happens. And I know that you like to collect, and a lot of people like collecting physical goods, but this is good for gaming. This is good for the consumer, I think, too, because I think that this stuff will eventually start transcending consoles and platforms and eventually be playable in lots of different places, and it preserves history.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to topic 2. But before we get into that, let's do another one of these. What's sponsorship number 2, Greg?
You want another ad?
Yeah.
Because it's me changing the game, ensuring our future. Here is ad number 2.
Okay. This looks like ad number 1, Greg.
It may look like that.
Is it not again?
Yeah. Just read it again.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we are sponsored by proflowers.com. It's a website where you can go and get flowers for your mom or your girlfriend. It's Mother's Day coming up, so you should do
Be
that.
baller.
Yeah, you could really do it for anybody.
Don't forget
Buy
the
'em for
parts
Kevin.
from the first ad where send Kevin flowers.
Get it for Kevin. Get it for Alfredo.
Kevin just used this ad. When we were doing the show, Kevin went to Pro Flowers. He clicked on the blue microphone. He put in patron to get the 100 blooms for $20 and the glass vase. Send him to his favorite corpse.
No. You don't do that. But you do go to visit proflowers.com. You click on the little blue microphone in the top right corner, type in patron, and then if you do that before Friday at midnight, you get 100 blooms with a free glass vase. Send it to whoever you want, and that'll be really fancy. Now, I got a lot of proflowers.com stories.
Do you?
I honestly do.
Wait, what?
I honestly do. I had a long distance girlfriend for like a million years. That's all in my life.
So you are a pro of pro flowers.
I am a pro of pro flowers, a patron, if you will. But yeah, I would. It's a really easy to use website, and you can send it wherever you want, which is awesome. And it's like you can choose the delivery date and all that stuff, and it's like you can really set it up down to like a specific time.
So here's my time out the question about this.
Yeah.
For this, and this is nitty gritty on this. You have the details in front of you. So you have to order this. You have to redeem this by Friday.
Yes.
Of next week, or Friday of when this breakout goes up, or this whole show goes up, not the Patreon or the episode. Can you set this for like 3 months from now? Can I?
Oh yeah.
No shit, really.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm pretty sure
I'm gonna redeem this like 5 times to just plan out every birthday for everybody.
I mean, yeah, no. I mean, it's really smart. You can do that stuff, and the flowers are guaranteed to be fresh and beautiful for at least 7 days.
Yeah.
So that's good. And I can vouch for these flowers too, because like they were great. Every time I sent them, I got nothing but compliments, and it worked out for me.
And I'm glad that they stay fresh for 7 days, which even though the corpses that Kevin will be sending the flowers to have all the time in the world, at least the flowers will be beautiful.
But,
that's not nice.
Kevin loves corpses.
But yeah, And you get to choose the delivery date you want, and it's guaranteed. So that's awesome.
All right.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, proflowers.com, little blue microphone up in the top right. You go there, and then bam, type in patron. You get your
I got one more when
100
you're
blooms. One more.
One more when you're ready
sponsorship.
today.
Oh, man, I'm ready. I wonder what it is.
I wonder, too.
We'll see. But all right, so topic number 2 today. Now, this one's very important to me. It worries me. I want to know you guys' opinions, and I want to know yours also. Very specifically, Alfredo.
Thank God you invited him to the show.
I know, right? New Vita design,
Yeah.
trademarked in Japan.
Oh, it's happening. Everybody happening. Vita. Oh, fucking shit, am I excited for this. You kidding me? You've seen the designs,
All right,
the little
so,
spec doc.
So what happens here, there's this little design. Have you seen the tech specs on this? They're not tech specs, but the specs
Get ready
on
to
this?
fucking throw your second PC out the
Vita.
fucking window. You won't need
It's
it,
a
buddy.
Vita.
Yeah,
There's
listen to this.
All right, there's blueprints. It looks like there's an HDMI port on it.
That's intriguing.
HDMI out.
Okay.
Lay the big one on.
It's described as a portable LCD screen game machine controller
That's not the big thing.
because that's how
Lay the big thing
government
on 'em.
people talk. And it's very similar to the 2000 model. Are you talking about the shoulder buttons?
Yeah, L2,
looks like it has
R2.
L2.
Wait, there's shoulder buttons?
Yeah, it's happening, buddy. The new Vita.
Additional, like 2 of them. Not like this. They're more like, are they behind each other?
Yeah, it looks like it.
So, okay, I was looking at the picture and I'm like, I heard you guys talking about this. I didn't see that.
There's buttons. The L1 and R1 buttons look like triangles, and then behind it are the normal triggers. It looks like, from what I was.
I'm pulling up
yeah, pull it so
schematics.
you can see it.
Interesting.
But I mean, we don't know. I mean, they're not.
This
Nothing's
is
marked.
a trademark. It's like the dual shock that broke into 2 things to be a move. Like, I don't.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
permanent. It's not necessary.
No, I think this is. I mean, I think this is going to happen. But and we've been talking about this for a while. Like, Vita is still viable for Sony, and I think that they're making money on it. I think they have to continue to reduce the cost of what it costs to manufacture. Vita is doing exceptionally well in Japan. So even if they were just going to release 3,000 in Japan, they would sell a few million of them probably. So I think it's probably worth it for them to continue to make Vita. And it's good that they're doing the unintuitive thing again, which is like people think they should abandon this system, and they're not going to. And they really are putting their money where their mouth is. This is real. Sony did put this through the patent office in Japan, so it's not like a hoax. But Greg's point is well taken, which is that they do this with a lot of shit. But I wouldn't be surprised. I've been saying for a long time that I don't think we've seen the last of Vita. That like there'll be another redesign, and we'll see what happens.
Alfredo, you do not own a Vita, correct?
I did at one point in time.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even know about
When it
that.
first came out.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, what would make you want to get it again?
Games that entice me. Yeah.
And just right now, there's none.
There's just,
Just not a vast
I mean,
library.
Uncharted, Golden Abyss, but that's like a super AAA title for Vita. I don't really know if that's something that they're still going to continue to do, yeah, exactly. Looking at Colin, no. So, I mean, like, yeah, games that entice me, if you have I don't know, if you have a library of games, I'm just like, what that is, I don't know yet.
I mean, have you played any of the first-person shooters on Vita?
Yeah, back when it was like the first Vita, it was like
Call of Duty, and
were
Resistance.
awful.
No,
Yeah.
Killzone was really good.
Killzone was good.
some weird like robot game too or something. I don't know. I forgot. But it didn't control well.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a shooting game. Like I play a lot of just different games in general now, but they have to have a library of games that I care about.
Yeah.
You have that, I will play. Not that it doesn't have a solid library right now. It does. It's just not games I feel like I want to play.
That's understandable. You're allowed to say that.
Yeah.
You're not just allowed to say that there's a different library. That's bitter.
Huh?
Nothing. We have breaking news today. This is 21 minutes old from IGN.com. New PlayStation Vita not coming after all? Just yesterday, a trademark surfaced what appeared to be a newly designed model of the PlayStation Vita. However, that doesn't appear to be the case after all. According to DualShockers, the then Japanese text in trademark actually refers to a positional change of an element within the product rather than a modification of its design. As such, Sony's filed request isn't in reference to what many assume to be the hypothetical Super Slim Vita 3000. According to Sony's full trademark listing, the registration is actually in reference to the three-dimensional position of the face buttons, not the shape or general form factor of the console itself. So now, I have to zip this
Zip
up
back
nice and
up.
tight.
Yeah, I don't know though,
Settled.
because I don't necessarily know if that's true. I mean, I'm sure that this part is true with the Japanese characters. We'll see what happens. Because the big thing is that
Japanese part.
the schematic shows an HDMI port clearly at the bottom of the unit. That could be mistaken for the power port on PS Vita 1000, but that is a picture of the 2000 because it has a circular start and select buttons. And that port doesn't appear anywhere on the Vita.
Just the dev kit, right?
Yeah, that's the thing a lot of people don't know, and that's why Sony, I think, is shy about showing Vita dev kits, is the Vita dev kit has always had an HDMI out. Always. Like, you can just plug your Vita into a TV, and it's done. And for some reason, Sony doesn't want that to be shown or put in the Vitas, normal Vitas. But this is the thing I was talking about was the shoulder buttons. This is the bottom of the unit. So there seems to be like new divots here. You know what I mean? So these are the things we were talking about. Maybe it's not going to come out or whatever. The bigger question though is Vita still viable? To have a 3000, and I think that it absolutely is. It's just you have to control your expectations. You know, Vita's never going to.
Is it just that Sony's crazy enough to do this?
Yeah, I've said that many times.
They kept pouring money into new PSPs when nobody cared about PSPs, and they finally started caring about PSPs.
They're a wily fucking company, dude. Like they do the unintuitive. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I've said that for years since we were doing Podcast Beyond. I said that like everyone's like, well, there'll be another Vita, and I'm like, like a Vita 2, and I'm like, Sony is crazy enough to do it. I'm telling you, they're fucking crazy enough to do it. You know, like whether or not they will or not, they're the company most likely to do it. So this made sense to me. I still think that they will remanufacture new Vitas and make them cheaper, get rid of the back touchpad and all that kind of shit.
That'd be awesome. I would love
it would render a lot of games inert.
Nobody cares.
But it doesn't matter.
Little and large can go suck a dick. Nobody cares. Let's get this thing. Get 2 shoulder buttons on each side. Let's get rid of the back touch. Let's tell everybody to stop making front touch games. Let's make the interface more like the
front touch is
PS4.
fine.
Let's just make it a mini PS4 peripheral.
I want a new Vita. I've been wanting one. I've been wanting a redesigned one. I'm one of those guys that's just going to keep fucking waiting.
They're never going to make the buttons bigger.
I know. They're never going to make the goddamn buttons bigger, and that's so upsetting.
They can't really be bigger. I mean, the circumference of the buttons, I mean, how? How would they become bigger?
I want it to just be as big as it was in PSP. That's it.
I don't feel like they're that far off.
No, they are extremely far off.
I don't think so.
They are. These are like the size of the 3DS buttons.
Were the PSP Go buttons the same size as the Vita buttons? Like, are they? I'm sorry, PSP 3000 to PSP Go.
Question?
Yeah, I don't know about PSP Go. Those were like super tiny and like.
Well, I have a PSP Go over there where I could right now settle this, compare it to a Vita. I don't know if
it's not worth it.
I think it is when somebody starts fucking insulting Vitas around here, saying the buttons are different than the buttons.
Well, they're definitely not like the PSP buttons. The OG PSP. PSP 1000.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I remember the OG PSP.
It's awesome. Those buttons are magical.
That is a meaty unit.
They're good.
PSP's
damn good. I want that. All I wanted was a PSP with the OLED screen. And what they do, they took that from me, Greg. They gave little tiny little girly buttons on the Vita 1000.
First off, there's some genderism. Everyday sexism hashtag.
They have tiny hands.
That's how you hashtag, right? You put it at the end of the hashtag?
Yeah, no.
Everyday sexism hashtag.
So then they make the 2000 and they're like, all right, Tim, we're going to make it slimmer, which is cool. We're not going to fix your button issue and we're taking away your screen. Oh, yeah, we're not going to sell the original one anymore. I hate you all. Here's
the problem with the fucking OLED screen is that everybody just drank fucking Kool-Aid on it. So like in IGN's article, they call like no mention of they're bringing back the gorgeous OLED screen.
There is mention.
No, that's what I'm saying. Oh no,
what I'm saying is there is mention because they say it's a portable LCD screen game machine controller.
Yeah, no. I'm sorry. You're getting caught up in the facts here. I'm saying that everyone in the gaming press in the echo chamber is hung up on this OLED screen being gorgeous and all this amazing things. You didn't play any of the games, you don't even fucking know. So you can shut up right now. And so then like it's not like you're fucking going from a widescreen 50-inch in your hand to an original Game Boy screen. Like everybody flips out about the new Vita screen. You don't even know what you're missing. It's great. Just buy it. Just get on board, Tim.
Yeah, no,
Import it from Japan with a cool color.
I'm in it for like the that's what I like about it. Is I like it.
You liked about it so much, you waited 4 years not to buy it.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, we already know I have my other issues with it.
What?
Where's Crash Bandicoot?
Well, that's not on there. You can't hold that against them.
I do, and these are licensing issues, which goes back to our digital thing. Right. I have problems with that, but still, I could look past it. There is other games that I do want to play. Most of them PS1 classics.
Sure.
But still, and I want to play them on an OLED screen with big buttons. And people are going to be like, you know what? Well, you don't get what you want, Tim. I guess you're right. I get an HDMI port, which is awesome. I'll give them that. If those are buttons, are shoulder buttons, all right, that's getting me closer. I would buy that.
Yeah, 100%.
If they made this, I'll buy it.
Yeah. What are you hung up on? What are you looking at?
I'm just reading. I'm reading. So the DualShocker story is actually pretty interesting. These are the guys over at DualShockers actually broke the story about why this is not real. And it's saying basically that the positional kind of nature of like the dashes mean that those are all the unchanged elements of the original Vita, that the triggers are not actually there. This is basically a reproduction of the 1003G port or model. I don't know. It was exciting even when it lasted, the whole story.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I was thinking about with Alfredo specifically with Vita. I don't think Vita will appeal to you because Vita is a PC in a lot of ways. It's a lot of PC first indie games. So if you're already playing on Steam, there's really no reason for you to be on Vita. Vita is awesome because what people hate about Vita, some people hate about Vita, is that it has no AAA games. What I love about it is that it has no fucking AAA games. It's a great place to play smaller downloadable games. I love it. I fucking love it. And that's what it's, we'll get Freedom Wars 2 and some other stuff probably, but the AAA stuff is dead. But Vita lives.
And I'm all about that. I want to play those games, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if there's a third version, I will just buy it because I give up. At that point, there's not going to be a fourth that I want.
What if they come out at E3 and they're just like, here's the new Vita and it's got huge fucking buttons?
If they come out and they're like, Tim, here's the Tim edition.
Boom.
Oh, I would pay a lot of money for it, man.
Yeah.
I honestly would. If they were to just give me exactly what I want, I would pay like $400 for it.
Damn.
That's how much I want it.
Do you want the shoulder buttons? Do you want R2s?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
That would be so great for
remote play.
for remote play.
That would be like the thing selling remote play to everybody. That'd be awesome.
I just don't think they can really practically do it.
No, probably not.
But I don't know. We'll see. Vita trucks along. They're still making them. Games are still coming out. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There are more announced Vita games than there are for any other platform. So whether or not half of them will make it to market remains to be seen. But Vita's. I like that the 3000 announcement, even if it wasn't real in the end, sparked a new conversation about Vita.
Yeah.
With a lot of people and a lot of
Shuhei saw it. He hears you, Tim.
Good.
Yeah. Shuhei hears all.
Thank you.
But the OLED screen, getting rid of the OLED screen and shrinking the system was a necessity to get the cost down, and that's why I think that 3000 will, if this is not it and it looks like it's not, that they will make a new iteration of it that makes it even cheaper.
Yeah, that I think you'll see for sure. Like I said, they kept redesigning the PSP. I'd imagine they redesign.
Yeah.
The Vita.
I mean, PSP was murdering the Vita, but
sure, yeah,
in terms of
100%.
sales, it's not even close. It's like probably like 7-1 lifetime sales. But so obviously they kept pushing the PSP.
They need that
out.
destination PlayStation event like PSP had.
But I think they read the tea leaves a little bit wrong with PSP too. When we've discussed this in the past, PSP was a homebrew machine for a lot of people. They weren't buying games. So I would say
You're right.
I would say half of I'd straight up say half the PSPs that were sold were sold not to play PSP games. That thing was so cracked wide the fuck open.
That's why to this day, my PSP, my OG day one PSP, is probably my favorite system of all time, just based on what it's done for me. I love that thing. I can play any game I fucking want on it. I can play PS1 games. I can play Super Nintendo, NES, Genesis, all the Game Boy. Holy shit.
To their credit, though, Sony did shut down with firmware and PSP. A lot of the PSP stuff you have to use old firmware, which you can. It's not a big deal. But no one's cracked Vita, and that's pretty remarkable.
That's another big issue I have with it.
Like people have gotten close to cracking it, and Sony really did manufacture a handheld that is like seems to be uncrackable.
If they cracked it, I would have got it.
Or
already.
just nobody cares enough to try to
No,
crack it.
people can't.
People are trying. They're trying
people
hard,
trying
man.
for
I
years.
keep up to date on that because this moment they crack it, that means I can buy Crash Bandicoot off the EU store and I'll be perfectly freaking happy. But until then,
It's pretty. It's that PSP's the crackability of PSP was interesting to a lot of people, but it also held the PSP back. I think from we couldn't get trophies on PSP for instance because of it. So
It hurt the ecosystem.
yeah, it did end up hurting like what PSP could have been. Like when they announced it there and they wanted to do trophies for PSP and they're like, well, we can't because you can just break the fucking shit out of the handheld. I was like, that sucks.
Yeah.
I'll
So
never
it's almost
forget
good
the
that it's
day.
almost
Got
good that the
cracked.
ecosystem is confined and contained and secure. At least right now, I'm sure someone maybe one day will break it when they stop updating it. Yeah. When they no longer make it anymore, they'll probably,
Then it'll be the machine Tim wants.
Mm-hmm.
can only hope. All right. Third topic of the day is actually, you know what? Let's do the last one. Let's get it out of the way. Then the fourth topic, we'll just have
more
a clean
integration.
fourth
One
topic.
more sponsorship
The
from
final
Greg.
integration. What is it,
Keeping
Greg?
The show alive.
Is it proflowers.com?
Why- Don't spoil it, all right? I'm pulling up the new ad, all right?
Okay.
It's booting up on the Kindle right here
Why are you booting it up on Kindle?
because that's where I open my PDFs.
Is it-
What?
That's weird.
There's so much
okay.
happening. Right. It's proflowers.
Yeah!
Ladies and gentlemen, go to proflowers. It's back.
We just had a profile show.
How that happened? So proflowers.com. If you click the little blue microphone in the top right corner and type in patron, that's Patron, you will get 100 blooms with a free glass vase for just $19.99. And as you guys you might know. I don't know if you're familiar with proflowers.com.
I've never heard of it.
Okay, well, it's this website. We can buy flowers and send it to whoever you want around
Even dead people?
the world. Probably not. I don't think that's how.
What
that
if you
works.
just knew
There
where you
needs to be
kept
an-
the
You
bodies?
could send it to dead
What
people.
if you knew where the bodies were? That's all.
Well, I'm just saying, what for a wake or a funeral? I'm sure you can buy.
sure, but
flowers.
what about for like if I hypothetically?
Stop, Greg.
I don't know. I don't know if there's an address. I'm pretty sure you're good. It's a guaranteed delivery. It's good. You can set the time you want it to be. It's all this good stuff, and you should do it for Mother's Day. It's great because you can just relax with Pro Flowers. You got this. Mother's Day, done. Your mom's gonna be happy if you send her a bunch of flowers. I know your mom, Alfredo.
Can I send flowers as Tim Gettys?
So now we go and we redeem the codes, and we just use this to fuck with people. I like where your head's at too.
Or send it to the local cemetery.
Can all of us make a pact right now to do this after the show and send them to Fran?
Oh my God! Just send her a bunch of
Everybody
flowers.
gets Fran gets 5 deliveries of flowers at the same time.
I love that.
Space them out. It's like every half hour.
That's
like something- something Nix would do.
We got some breaking news, guys. We can make her day extra special by upgrading to a premium vase and add chocolates for just $9.99
Oh,
more.
that's sold. Set a day, call her over, have the place smell like vanilla bean, and you're set.
Ooh, that's all you need. Now here, like I said earlier, I have a plethora of proflowers.com stories. Right? They didn't stop there.
For the record, I didn't know this.
Well, I'm just having 3 sponsorships in a row. I can tell all my stories. So, the girl that I am currently dating now, when we first...
Your girlfriend.
My girlfriend. When we first started our little minglings and stuff, I remember I went to her house, and it was one of the most awkward moment. There's a delivery at the door, and the guy opens it, and it was... proflowers.com delivery from some other dude, and she was like so embarrassed by the whole thing because she hadn't talked to this guy for like a month, but it was flowers who just like, I mean, I'm putting people on blast right now, but it's just nameless people, so it doesn't matter. But he's all like,
I hope he's a
he wrote
Patreon
little,
kind of funny.
she was like, read me the note. I'm like, you want me to read you the note? She's like, sure. So I read it. It's just like, hey, like I know you need space right now, but like, you know, if you want to talk, I'm here to talk. It's just like. That is literally the opposite of giving her space. You're sending her flowers. And now here's the thing. He sent the small basic version.
He's a basic bitch.
You never send the basic version of the flowers. You got to go deluxe. So that's an option. For like $9.99 more, you get chocolates and all this stuff. Come on.
And all this.
Step it up. Step it up.
You all right there, buddy?
I'm trying to blink out stuff in my eyes. This does not reflect poorly on Pro Flowers.
You really do have a face only a mother can love, dude.
Oh, it's so
I'm
bad.
gonna get it out of my eye.
It's like a fish out of water trying to gasp for air.
I don't know.
Oh my God. Anyways, guys, proflowers.com. You should go use the promo code PATRON, PATRON. And just remember, if you're trying to impress a girl and you're trying to like, if she needs space, but you don't want her to have space, which you should just, you know, do what she wants if she wants space. But if you're trying to make a good impression, you always go deluxe, guys. Come on.
Gotta go deluxe.
This is amateur hour?
Hillbilly Deluxe. It's a song.
Way. It's the only way. All right. Third topic of the day. Journey.
Yeah.
It's a video game. It's also a band. But the video game is what we're talking about today. But the music of the video game. It's getting a vinyl.
All right. Yeah.
A special edition little vinyl release for Journey. Beautiful art prints. They're like art records, so you get 2 of them.
They're art records.
What are they called?
Vinyl?
They're records.
Yeah, but it's like the one
The
they have
vinyl
art
case.
like art discs.
I don't know.
There's some specific name for it. I don't really know what it is, but
Hold on one second. Hey, Dad. How are you? I'm good. I'm hosting a show right now. Can I call you back? Yeah, I'll give you a call back in a little bit. Bye. I don't talk to my father a lot.
Your dad's got that Midwestern accent. Hardcore.
Yeah.
I could hear it.
Yeah.
Got this.
I've never talked to your dad before.
so there's art prints on the vinyls themselves, right?
Right.
And there's 4 different ones because it's their side A, side B. of each
right.
front. So there's 4 different pieces of art. All of them are the traveler with the scarf going around.
Sure.
So when you
Which Nick Scarpino thought was bacon, by the way. We went and played Super Time Force Ultra at a PlayStation event. And he's like, the traveler's running around. He's like, why is bacon floating around this guy? And I'm like, there are pieces of fabric. There's a scarf. It's a long story.
It's a whole thing. Anyway, so when it spins on the vinyl, it looks really pretty because
Yeah.
then you see the scarf going around and stuff like that.
Sure.
Have you ever seen the picture discs on the vinyl spin?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, it's really cool looking. I like it a lot.
Do you collect vinyl? Do you use vinyl?
I have a lot of vinyl.
Okay.
Yes.
I get the vinyl to listen to it, not to look at it.
But you listen and look at it. It's part of the experience.
No. I listen to music. I don't look at music.
Colin, you need to step it up. Anyways, this is really exciting to me because first off, I love Journey. Second off, I love vinyl. Third off, I like collecting physical goods.
Sure.
Fourth off, I'm a big fan of video game music in general. So the topic here is video game soundtracks.
Sure.
What are your favorites? What are the best?
Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker.
Peace Walker.
It was a really good one.
You go with
Yeah.
Peace Walker.
I tried to import it and I failed because I was poor, I think, at the time.
See, I'm a connoisseur
Yes.
when it comes to this video game music thing.
French.
I own many of the many video game soundtracks and like orchestrated versions and live versions of all the shit and stuff like that. I have an issue when the sound quality isn't good. When like the samples they use are like really like just weird MIDI things and all that stuff. And Peace Walker is one of those examples where it's like a lot of it, like some of it was actually orchestrated, but the majority of it was like just weird electronic sounding shit, which was like a step back after MGS 2 and 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Songs
Have it your way.
Yeah.
Like Burger King. I
Yeah.
liked it. That's what I'm saying.
What?
What do you even say? I don't even understand what you mean.
Was that a McDonald's thing with I'm loving it?
No, have it your way.
Yeah.
And then you just said, I liked
liked
it.
it.
That's what I mean.
I think it was pretty clear.
Oof, man.
I recently played through the Uncharted series.
Ah.
That soundtrack is amazing, but there's only one soundtrack that matters. I'm gonna take you for a ride.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Yeah. Marvel vs.
you go.
Capcom 2 had a dope ass soundtrack.
See, that's listen to that forever.
That song sucks.
Yeah, that's so.
That song makes me want to kill myself.
I love that soundtrack so much because there's so many games that came out in the 90s that just have this weird feel to them where it's like, what the fuck were they thinking? Like they're like, oh yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. We got all these Marvel characters. We got all these Capcom characters. What should they fight to? This weird electronic jazz stuff.
Yeah, it was like jazzy music. I'm like,
What?
okay.
All the songs are just like this hodgepodge of just noise. And it's on loop. Always. Why? Why, Colin?
I don't know, because you can't fight the silence. It'll be boring.
That's true.
I think that typically older game soundtracks are better because I think that and it's not necessarily even chiptunes, not necessarily only MIDIs. I think you even make an argument for PS1 or PS2 games. It's that game soundtracks sounded a specific way. They sound like video games. Games today sound like movies or TV shows. So like they don't catch my ear that much. Like Uncharted soundtrack, I don't even know a fucking single song on Uncharted. The theme song, but I don't think that's like an extraordinarily good song or anything like that, in my opinion. I have the platinum trophy in all three of those games, so I'm very intimately familiar with Uncharted.
What about this one? Boom. Ba-da-dum. That was more Uncharted, just drums and shit.
Okay, I don't
Then there's
know.
Vuvuzuela in there.
They went to the soccer game.
Somebody shakes a
They
maraca.
went to the soccer game.
Didgeridoo.
But when you think about like Mega Man or Castlevania or Mario or whatever, like those are iconic because they, especially the Capcom NES games and the Konami NES games are iconic because they sound like video games. Those guys were pioneering something that we had never heard before.
Sure.
So it's not like shoehorning classical music or a more stoic soundtrack into something. It's like this is a game with game music, and that was awesome.
Well, what's really cool too about the older eras is that they were so limited with what they could do. Like on NES, you could never have more than 3 sounds going at once. So it's like if you had like layers of instruments and all this shit, it could never be playing more than 3 instruments. So that's why most of the games there's just bass line, rhythm line, melody, and that's it. And that's why there's this feel to it that's very unique because of the limitations of it, and that forced them to be more creative with what they were doing and kind of come up with these like melodies that just get ingrained in the experience of what you're doing. Like Wily's Castle in Mega Man 2 is just like that will forever. Anytime you hear even like 2 notes of that, you instantly know where you are. Castlevania and Metroid, like holy shit, Metroid, like that is one of the most sparse soundtracks ever, but it like perfectly explained where you were and like gave the whole atmosphere a feeling.
Well, yeah, I mean, to the original Metroid, especially like NES Metroid, the opening soundtrack, like when you're at the start screen, is awesome because it's just chimes. And then I have a cold, so I'm probably not gonna be able to go too high with it, but like and it's like all like that's like classic, and that's just tones. That's not even a song. And it's funny because when you get what's so cool, and Greg and I explored this a little bit when we did the Mega Man playthroughs, and he was with me, is like the music towards the end of the NES era was fucking crazy complicated, and like I don't know like how they did it and like what they learned, but if you listen to like the original Mega Man music, which is good, to Mega Man 6, which is like orchestral by MIDI standards, it's the same hardware. And there were games that needed better music on the NES and on the Famicom. Castlevania 3 in Japan on Famicom had a special music chip in it that let it play music way more advanced than it should have been able to play. And that's why it's one of the great soundtracks of all time, I think, Castlevania 3 specifically. But even when you get to like PS1, Final Fantasy 7 soundtrack, for instance, this is iconic. But again, this was the fusion of like better sound quality. We weren't doing MIDIs anymore. These were real songs. These were real orchestras playing some of these songs. But they still sounded like game music. That was like what was so cool about it. That's why when you have a game like Shovel Knight, that soundtrack's awesome because it sounds like an old Capcom soundtrack. Music isn't unique to games. It was the way music was employed in games that was unique.
Yeah.
And that has been lost. Unfortunately, I think, unless you're trying to go for an intentionally retro style game.
Well, what's crazy too is like, you know, people hear chiptune stuff and they're just like, oh, it's retro. And it's like, that's not true though. Like there is so much styles within all of that where it's like, you can make if you hear something, you can be like, oh, that's Mega Man. Even if it wasn't a Mega Man thing, like that's influenced by Mega Man. That's Castlevania. Mario even is just like
Mario's very airy and loose when you hear those songs. They're great.
And all it is they're just chiptunes. They're just modern day original chiptune songs, but they have their roots in these different styles that are based on games. And I just think that's like really interesting and cool. And like you bring up Final Fantasy, I feel like when you talk about game soundtracks, like Final Fantasy is probably the most obvious answer, and it's arguably the best when you look at as a franchise as a whole. So many games that it whether it was chiptunes or full orchestra things or orchestrated versions of old chiptune songs, it still works. And like Nobuo Uematsu did some amazing work, and whether it's Final Fantasy 7, 6, 8, 9, all of them have like amazing soundtracks.
4 and 6 and 7 I think are the king. 4 maybe especially. Like it's funny when you think about Final Fantasy's iconic nature. Someone, at some point, musicians sat down to try to like. Obviously, we have a composer, but a lot of musicians probably worked on a lot of these soundtracks. And at some point, someone sat down at a keyboard, a Square, and was like, and played 4 notes. It was like, and I was like, it's like
nailed it.
And like they didn't realize like what they just did, and like how that would insert your brain like Wily's Castle or something like that, or the Mario tune. But I want to give a shout out to some newer music. I think Mario Galaxy had really awesome music, and I think that that again was a really improper fusion by the standards of 2007 of putting old school styles with totally orchestral music. The last stage when you're fighting Bowser, that music's fucking awesome.
Well, the thing about Mario Galaxy that was crazy was that was one of the first times any company really was like, fuck it, it's full orchestra. Like we're gonna actually use real orchestras to do the entire soundtrack, not just a song or two. Because like you were saying, like Final Fantasy 7, like that was just samples. That wasn't actually orchestrated. It wasn't until like even Final Fantasy 10 was like weird bullshit MIDI stuff. Like it wasn't actual orchestras. There was like a handful of songs that were. But Mario Galaxy, like all the songs were either orchestrated or they were like the Mario 3 remix and stuff like that were obviously electronic. But that was such a unique thing for Nintendo to do, and it started with Star Fox Assault on GameCube, which was their experiment, and that was awesome because that took the game to the next level where it's like, yeah, it was a shitty game, whatever, but like the fucking soundtrack was awesome, and that was them dabbling in, let's do a fully orchestrated thing to really make this feel more like Star Wars, like a movie, and it totally worked. And I think we saw that in Mario Galaxy when it's like, that's what made Mario Galaxy feel so grand. Like the gameplay was amazing, the look, the feel, the world, all that stuff, but it's like, I think the music made it feel out of this world. But like really though, it gave it that like holy shit epic feeling of like this is a real thing.
Yeah, it's one of the few gaming soundtracks I actually got because I was really into it. I don't know. I it's funny because when we talk about movie soundtracks, we typically, not always, but typically talk about movie soundtracks in the way of like, well, what songs are on there and what artists are on there and stuff like that. You think about like famous soundtracks even from when we were kids, like Romeo and Juliet and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't about the native music. It was about who you can get, so it was a big deal, when they got all these bands or whatever. It's not to say that there aren't guys like John Williams making their own orchestral music for movies, because obviously they are, and some of the most iconic music of all time, with Star Wars being in the zeitgeist right now, is John Williams' work. But gaming music is just unique because it's actually, while we have like the soundtrack kind of mentality in movies, that's the exception to the rule in games, which is what's so fun. So like when we play a game like Crazy Taxi or something like that, or Tony Hawk, that was movie style soundtracks.
Yeah.
But typically we get more native music, and I think that's like what's so exciting about it. I just wish that it would be a little truer to itself, because I do feel like with the fusion of movies and with movies and games, that music is losing its soul a little bit, which is why I can play most games today on mute. I don't give a fuck. You know, like I would never, ever, ever, ever play Castlevania on mute, ever. You know what I mean? Like, but I can play Uncharted on mute. I don't care. You know, it's like
You're crazy. I don't know about that. I mean, the thing is,
I listen to shit all the time on like when I'm playing games now. I would never do that when I was a kid.
There's a difference between soundtracks and scores. You know, like the movies would have the soundtracks with all the licensed stuff, but there still would be a score that somebody made. That gives it the feel. Like even like something like Fast and Furious, it's all licensed stuff, but like there is still a score that like plays throughout it. But like things like Uncharted and stuff, like I feel like the music, because it is more of a movie experience, like it is necessary. Like, and like the characters have themes and like all that stuff, and like it builds with the emotional goal that the game is trying to get out.
Sure, but that's not when I play Uncharted. That's not what I think. Like when I think about the 5 best things Uncharted does, I don't think about the music. I think about the voice acting. I think about the writing. I think about the gameplay and the environments and the exploration, storytelling.
Isn't that because music it's just easy to forget about? Like it's when it's done poorly that you really notice it. You know what I mean? Like, and then like we're talking about like Crazy Taxi and Offspring, or even the Final Fantasy noise, or these things that are driven in over and over and over again. But when I stop and I think back to an Uncharted and how playing through that without music would sound, it would sound weird. But I don't think when I'm playing it how great this sounds.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because it fits. Maybe that's the thing. But again, like, I remember the music of those classic games. I remember that's one of the best things about those games. And I wouldn't pick out many games today where I'm like, one of the best things about the game is the music. Like I don't, you know, like that's not, maybe it's not what I'm looking for anymore, but I also don't feel like the music's as in your fucking face anymore either. Maybe it doesn't have to be. I mean, music was always playing when you play a game like, I don't know, even like one of the great games of NES with soundtracks is Journey to Silius. Sunsoft's games like Batman and Fester's Quest and stuff, like they had some good music in them, but Journey to Silius was fucking a masterpiece of soundtrack. And it was supposed to be a Terminator game, but they lost the license. And that's an awesome game, and I remember that playing that game the first time, being like, this game's fun and it's side-scrolling and it's hard, but that fucking music's killer, you know? And I don't really hear it anymore. That's why when you play a game like Shovel Knight, I'm like, oh, the music's in your face again, and this is the way it is, and it's always playing. And I don't know. It's just, I think the games have just changed and moved away from the importance necessarily of I don't want to say the audio fidelity, because it's important with sound, it's important with voice acting, but I think music might be waning somewhat in importance.
Yeah, see, I could never agree with that. Like, I love the old stuff so much, like just as much as you do. Like, it's so important to me, and like we are those weirdos that would listen to just 8-bit music just because we're into it and we like it. But I mean, there's so many modern games like Halo. We haven't even talked about Halo, and it's like that soundtrack is amazing, and that is one of the, I would say, best things about the game. It really ties it all together, and it's like it's very unique in what it is. Like, it's, when you hear that, you know it's Halo. In the same way that you can hear a couple notes of Dr. Wily, if you hear that quiet, you're like, oh, Halo.
Yep.
You know, and it's like when Halo and Metal Gear are two examples of this, where it's like they have these iconic themes, and even when the themes go away, and there's just other music that's kind of inspired by those themes, like with Halo 4 or with Metal Gear, Peace Walker, and all that stuff. It's like there's still, you feel the growth and you feel the like where it came from. It might not be the exact same theme that you know and love, but it's still, the music grew just with the game and all that stuff. I don't know. I'm very big fan of so many different game soundtracks, and I feel like I've bought soundtracks of a shit ton of games I've never even played, just because I'm like, I think.
So do you listen to them for leisure?
Yeah.
Like, I buy them. What I always end up doing is like, oh, I love, like, I have Uncharted from like the collector's edition or whatever, from that giant case, right? I have that, and I put it on my phone, and then it would pop up on my phone, and I would just skip it every time, because that's just not what I want out of music usually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I finally deleted them. I like Uncharted. I think the music's great, but I don't sit around and be like, yeah, I can go for this score right now.
Yeah. See, I like listening to scores a lot, and I feel like there's a lot of specific things that I really enjoy. There's a series of CDs called Distant Worlds, which is a concert that. A Final Fantasy concert, and it's just a bunch of different Final Fantasy music orchestrated. They're on the 3rd CD now. I love those. I love listening to them all the time. Most games will just take bits and like take usually just the themes and stuff from.
Yeah.
Like Uncharted is one of those where there's not too many songs that I'm like in love with, but I love the theme. And Smashing Live, which was like it was all the Smash Bros songs, like, so it's just like a Nintendo medley. if we're gonna top best soundtrack, Smash Bros. Wins because it's just like all the iconic
Yeah.
Nintendo songs in one thing, and Final Destination, and it's just all those songs live, and that's fucking awesome. That's great. I listen to that shit.
Okay.
Probably too much.
I just think the design aesthetic of games, I don't know, almost has demonstrably moved away from the importance of music. I mean, I'm just thinking about it. I'm like,
When do you think the last point where it mattered was? What, Zelda 64? Like, I mean,
no, I mean even later than that. But I think it still matters. Like Galaxy, I think it mattered because Nintendo just knew what they were doing with that game. That game's brilliant. But I think generally when you think about a game, right? Like think about a shooter, and you're moving from point A to point B on the map, and there's a lot of ambient sound. And there's a sound of gunfire and all that stuff, but there's no music. There might be a flourish or a crescendo here and there as you turn a corner to a beautiful vista or something like that, but it's not there anymore. You know what I mean? Like games would have been sterile back in the day without music at all times because like Mega Man, if you were to play Mega Man in 2015, it would be like a huge open world game probably and all that kind of stuff. But Mega Man was just a side scroller and it had no fucking context. So like the music was almost a piece of
it was
the
like
context.
half of it.
Yeah, so like, and it was important, right? And to me, like, so when I think about games, like, it's easier for me to think about the games where the music really did matter, like Catherine, where like it really affected me, as opposed to the games where I'm like, I don't remember a fucking single song out of some of these games I love. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I think I'm just in them for different reasons.
Like that's the difference between like what you're saying does not work with Halo. Like there's music very well timed with all the cues of all the things you're doing, and it's like it is part of the experience is the music. But then you play games like Resistance, where it's like, what the fuck's the Resistance theme? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Or Killzone or whatever it is. And like I just feel like
or Call of Duty or like Call of Duty, like they always have these great intro music and these montages and the kind of
trailers.
But like when you play the game, like I played almost every Call of Duty game as you have, and I'm like, I don't remember any of the fucking songs.
Yeah,
I'm not even sure if there's songs playing. You know, that's how like, and I'm like, I don't know if I really care.
I don't think there is, no.
That's like, I guess that's what I'm saying is like my mentality as a gamer has changed a lot, where the expectation was like this must have good music back in the day, and now my expectation is like it's like not even really that important. It's the way I feel like graphics almost, where I'm like, I don't even care the way the game looks. Is it fun? You know, like sure. So I don't know. It's interesting to hear different points of views about it. But I agree that like it would be really hard. You'd be hard pressed to beat Nintendo at the soundtrack game, and I think you'd be, except for maybe Square, and you'd be hard pressed to beat the old games over the new games. I think with maybe some exceptions like Halo. And you guys seem to like Uncharted, although with the exception of the intro scene, I can't think of one song other than the title screen.
When he dies, it's like, and then
Nathan Drake dies.
Nate.
That's what I remember. It's like Snake. I can actually hear the Metal Gear song, like that little. Yeah, like that. Like I can hear.
Yeah.
A little.
Metal Gear's
It's like a jingle. It's like Cars for Kids. It's a jingle.
Yeah. All right. Final topic for the day, guys.
Stop. You have no more ads.
Okay.
But we do need to thank our patrons.
Oh, thank you, patrons.
We slept on. We're doing 2 months here because we slept on the first because of GDC packs, everything else. So thanks for all your support.
So they're scrolling along.
They are
doing their thing.
It's not that violent.
I think they're coming this way.
Actually, they go up and down. You've never watched this show, have you?
Never.
Jesus
not once.
Christ.
All right. So every week we tweet out. We ask you guys to give us your topics, and then we'll discuss them. We got a bunch of them today. I'm pretty excited about these. The first one is...
Who do they tweet at?
They tweet at...
You. They tweet you a lot.
They tweet at me. They tweet Kind of Funny Vids.
All right, just trying to get them involved. Some kid's watching right now.
He knows what's up, dude.
Driving his mom to a doctor's appointment. She's got a fucking thing on her foot. We're kind of scared. That's going to be okay. Don't worry, Mom.
Damn. All right. At Martin Swagger says... Screen looking and other forms of gamesmanship / cheating.
Yeah.
What's okay and what isn't? Is there a time and place for it?
Multiplayer. Cheating is never acceptable in multiplayer.
Alfredo takes shit hella seriously.
It's just not. Like if it gets to the point where it affects not only your experience but the experience of others, I don't think that's acceptable. Yeah.
I mean, so you're talking just competitive multiplayer?
No, just multiplayer in general. Like if doesn't have to be competitive. Like if you're doing something that is hindering everyone's experience, and that's not right.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be a screen cheat unless you're playing screen cheat, which is a game where you have to cheat to look at the screens, which is a great idea.
That is a great
Have you seen this game?
I have seen it, yeah. Is it out yet?
No. Or
is it like...
The console releases aren't out yet for sure. It might be out on PC. Screen cheat, everybody.
We should check that out.
Okay.
We should do a Let's Play on it.
Well, they wanted to come through and do one with us, but I forget why we couldn't do it.
Because I'm into that.
Okay.
That sounds like a fun idea. I'm all about looking at people's screens.
See, because you're a schemer. You're a horrible person.
Yeah.
You're the worst.
That's what I do.
But I mean, like the problem is like you can get good at it for sure, but talent will still win out in the end.
Oh yeah.
If you're taking
it
that
does.
second to try to look over and see what Fredo's doing, it doesn't matter. Fredo's gonna still be on top of you in no time, or Colin's gonna run up and shoot you as well. That was always the thing with GoldenEye. When you got GoldenEye, that there was that in the camping, right? Mm-hmm. Where you're looking at a corner or whatever, and like you knew somebody was like in the facilities chilling, waiting, like you know what I mean. Like then you had to look at somebody's screens. Somebody's just looking in a stall. You're like, all right, what are you doing? Where are you?
Mm-hmm.
I have to deal with it every day in the form of it's called stream sniping. When people just like when I go back to this all the time because I play this a lot right now, but like H1Z1, right? Where it's just like last 10 people left. Sometimes people are just like, watching the stream, trying to see where I'm at in this.
Shut up.
Yeah,
Because you're trying to like
all the time.
even though
That's
there's a
hilarious.
delay in the stream, but you could still be trying to like hole up. Somewhere,
Yeah, but you're
right?
still holding up at that place for
Wow.
like maybe like a couple minutes. Yeah, there's a lot of times like there's a big open lobby, everyone's talking. There's a lot of time I like go to a corner and like someone be running through town like Alfredo, and I'm like yeah. So
Man,
yeah,
that's insane. I
It's
don't know about
weird.
the internet changes things.
it does. It
Because
really
then
does.
if you're cheating on the internet, I feel like that's just not okay. Because
But
like, you're not with
local
the person.
multiplayer cheating, you're fine with?
I think that's the thing. Is like if I like looking at people's screens, if it's obvious everyone's looking at people's screens. Like
well,
it's,
yeah.
back in the
If
day
they
with
have
split
everyone's
screen stuff.
consent.
Yeah, and it's I like to just play not even consent, just like play the game differently. No matter what, you can't trust your friends. Your friends are assholes. They're looking at your screen.
True.
Oh, I'm not looking at your screen. Bullshit. Yeah, you are. You know you're looking at the screen. That's all you do. So it's like I remember back when we used to play Halo split screen. I would make sure that I knew where I was. I'd just look down, walk on the grass and stuff, so all the motherfuckers looking at me, you wouldn't know where I am.
Right.
I would do that. Or when I did 1v1s versus my younger brother, we just put a cardboard box right in the middle.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
there's that
that's a
too.
big one.
Yeah.
That's a big, you can't see.
Yeah. Just hide.
We used to do when we played Superman 64 multiplayer. I would go park in the game because the multiplayer was so bad. Of course,
Yeah.
the levels were so poorly designed, just like the rest of the game is. One of us would always go and park, and it would just be hide and seek because you had to go find it. Because you would just turn your character and like drive Brainiac's ship up against a purple wall, and so then you just ran around. You're flying around the level trying to find it. It was a very bad game.
Yeah, I think multiplayer is not acceptable. I think single
Why do you
player-
keep saying multi? Like, how are you cheating in single player? You're just talking about like
Using codes.
No, I mean like you just can't get past the part and using codes to beat it. It's like
you're hurting yourself. Who cares? You know what I
Exactly,
mean?
yeah, at
That
that
I don't
point,
care
you're
about.
hurting
Do whatever
yourself.
you want. It's back to the whole drug argument. If you're using drugs, legalize all the drugs. You're just hurting yourself. You want to screw yourself up, big deal.
Yeah.
But don't ruin it for the people. Then the multiplayer comes into it.
No one can do drugs. All right.
Snaking, don't
At
snake.
Bizzle 1096 wants us to talk about Battlefront with a lot of exclamation marks.
All right,
Yeah.
Battlefront's
So
coming.
it is coming.
I don't know how I feel about it.
Have we seen gameplay?
We have not seen gameplay.
No.
The trailer looks beautiful. I think you're going to be sadly mistaken if you think the game looks like that.
Yep.
But it's an engine.
No space battle.
Yeah.
Meh, I'm okay with that.
What?
I mean, that'll come eventually. I mean, that'll be the next one.
Hmm.
I'd rather them focus on making it really good with all the online
ground.
like atmosphere shit.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like once it gets like $2,000, it's just like somewhere has to not be as good because there's not enough attention being brought
Yeah.
to it. If they nail this, then next time nail that, that'll be fine.
Yeah.
So does anybody like who played the other Battlefronts? Any of us? Like
I played a little bit.
I mean, I
Super
played
long
PSP
ago.
Just a
when I
little bit,
reviewed it
yeah.
and stuff, and I enjoyed it fine. But it's just like I had actually forgotten a lot of what Battlefront was until we were interviewing Chloe for Kind of Funny Games and stuff and talking to her. I was like, oh right, that's how this works. Oh yeah, and it's just like that's cool, and it looks like it's gonna be really pretty. I don't know if I care. I don't know if I care about a 20v20 battle, but I'm not a multiplayer guy. Like that's
Yeah.
well versed. I mean, you are. Are you excited? Are you gonna?
I'll pick it up. I'll play it.
Yeah.
For how long? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really upset there's no campaign. I mean, I think that
It's not surprising.
it's not surprising, but I wanted it. I would have played through that campaign. That would have been a game that I'm definitely gonna. I want this experience, and they stole it from me.
Considering who's making it and
Yeah, it makes
the nature,
sense.
I think that's the biggest reason why you should be very skeptical of Battlefront. I know some people are mad at me for saying that, but DICE fucked up an entire fucking entire online game. It wasn't that long ago, and this game is going to be contingent on online, and this game is going to get slammed way harder on the server load than Battlefront or
Yeah,
Battlefield
definitely.
4 did. So,
Battlefield.
so like, there's every reason to be, in my opinion, to be totally skeptical of this game. We'll see like how it. I'm skeptical. Developers have put me in such a way now that I'm just skeptical about everything. You know, and that's a healthy way to be. It's just like nothing works. So nothing's as good as it seems. Nothing works right.
Except Nintendo.
We had like even the single player games, like we had The Order. The Order was like such a fucking huge disappointment. It's not that we didn't see it coming. It's just like this is it. Like this is it.
Yeah.
This is the game. You know, like all right. It's good to be skeptical, and I think I'm very skeptical of Battlefront.
At JLY 1987 asks, do Star Ocean 5, Xenoblade Chronicles X, and Persona 5 bring hope for JRPGs to come back, or is it a fluke? Colin.
I was surprised to see Tri-Ace making a game because there was rumors not too long ago that Tri-Ace was going to get shut down. So Tri-Ace is working on Star Ocean 5, so they're alive and well. No, I don't think any of those games matter to a broader audience except for Persona. Xenoblade is doing its thing and it's great and people are enjoying it. It just came out on the new 3DS, which is a port I think of the Wii game.
Yeah,
and they're making they'll make a new one, and people really like that. Monolith does those, right?
Yeah, this is the new one. X.
Oh, X. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Monolith is working on that, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Persona obviously is going to be a huge game. I've said before, Persona 5 will sell millions of copies. And Star Ocean is a niche game. I think Star Ocean will do fine. Star Ocean's a good sign that Square Enix specifically is understanding more of what's going on. I think they're showing signs, glimmers of hope. Even Final Fantasy VII's re-release on PS4, which a lot of people are disappointed because it's not like really touched up or anything like that, is a sign that at least they're listening.
So dumb.
But between Bravely Second and Bravely Default, obviously, and then Star Ocean, they're getting back to their roots a little bit, which I think is a positive thing for role-playing gamers because I've gotten, some people are mad at me out there about what I say about JRPGs, but let's be honest. I mean, JRPGs largely are fucking terrible today. And I don't, I'm not a huge Metacritic fan, but just go to Metacritic and look at the scores some of these games are getting. Like literally 25, 30, 35. Like some of these games are just trash, And Star Ocean's not going to be trash, and Persona's not going to be trash, and Bravely's not going to be trash. And finally, we're getting away from these compile heart fucking
garbage,
just fucking garbage, like just
Ni no Kuni
almost
2?
Yeah, and there's rumors of Ni no Kuni 2 being in development at level 5, which is fucking awesome. Ni no Kuni, there you go. So there's definitely hope. I don't think those games hearken necessarily to a better time in role playing games, but I think that things are getting better because it's been real dark for a while
Has it been real dark? I asked this, having a cursory knowledge of JRPGs, only the Persona series really ever catching me and capturing my attention for too long. But there's more bad ones, but there's still great ones.
Yeah, there are great ones. It's just that I think that the exception to the rule were the bad ones back in the day, and I don't think that that's rose-tinted glasses. I've said it before. Like for every Beyond the Beyond or Saga Frontier, where some of the bad games that came out, there were a lot of really great Japanese role-playing games during the SNES and PlayStation eras. They were constant. They were incessant. Like every few weeks, it seemed like one would come out. Every month and a half. I mean, they were coming out constantly. Now the big guys and the little guys are disappointing everyone, or a lot of people. And so it seems like everything's kind of starting to get back on track. I think Ni no Kuni was the canary in the coal mine that things might get better because Ni no Kuni was just extraordinary. Ni no Kuni is the best Japanese role playing game that I've played in 10
drippy
years.
nose.
So that game understood it. That game nailed it. And I'm excited to see Star Ocean come back. Tri-Ace is going to get another chance to make a game, and that's a positive. Yeah.
Good. At Nico Fugslang says, are you excited for Lego Dimensions? What franchises do you want to see in it? Should Activision and Disney be worried? Am I excited? Yes. Am I going to play it? No. What franchises do I want in it? Ninja Turtles, Disney Princesses.
Disney Princesses, you're not going to get.
They're a Lego thing.
Yeah, but, well, I guess. But I mean, what about Disney Infinity?
Yeah,
are they going to double down on that?
No, there's no way they'll do that.
That's the whole point, right? Yeah, they want you, the Frozen fan, creepy fan, to go buy the Frozen figures and put them out there. Am I interested in it? My initial answer was no. I don't. These toy games, no, thank you. I like the Lego games as they are. I buy a disc or a digital thing, and then I'm in the world and I have the toys there. And then I said, if they ever make a Superman or Ghostbusters, then I'd have to buy it. And people were like, they tease Ghostbusters in the trailer, and then I was like, well, I'm going to buy this then. If they put that out at launch, then yeah, I'll be a part of that to play that and have that. It's interesting. I think it's really going to boil down to, are they appealing to a different audience with it, right? Like, should Disney and Activision be scared? No. Skylanders is like an original IP, you know what I mean? It's just run rampant, you know what I mean? It has its hooks and everything. Disney's playing catch up. Lego's playing catch up too. But Lego's playing catch up in a way that I think this game might appeal to people who weren't into Disney Infinity or it, right? Like, there's some people who love Legos now, buy Legos, have the Lego sets everywhere. That when, you're putting out more Lego stuff, and it's even if it's going to be like Amiibos, where you're buying the Ghostbusters and Lego guys that are on their stands to put down at your desk to never play the game. That's money. They don't care.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to get me to play it more than I don't care about Skylanders. Disney Infinity I have and tried out when we went out on our own. They sent me a copy, and I was like, okay, this is fun, but it's not like enough for me to be invested in and love it. But as much as I love Lego games, if you give me Ghostbusters and then you give me Superman and then you give me, and there's all these little breadcrumbs to keep me buying and keep me playing, then yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right. At Mary Rums says,
Mary Rums,
is it fair to consumers when DLC for a game is announced before the game is even released?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely fair.
I hate this fucking argument. I hate it when people forgot about day one DLC. I love day one DLC. I love the fact that I have a game, and if I enjoy this game, if I enjoy the first however many hours of it, I know there's already more content. You know what I mean? Like Valkyria Chronicles 2, when they're like, we're going to give you more missions every week, and like Freedom Wars, we're going to give you content every week and weapons and stuff. I was like, yes, great. I love the promise of support. I get it from the business side of it that it's a hook to make sure you don't go trade the game in.
Yeah.
But I also love it that you just are guaranteed that much support. How many games have there been that I do love and I would be like, man, if you would just put out more stuff, I'd love to buy it and play it, but you don't know if that'll ever happen, or you get it forever and ever and ever later, right? Like Batman Arkham City was great about that, of like, hey, Arkham City's coming out, and there's going to be this Harley Quinn, or I think they just said at the beginning, there's going to be story DLC that'll come out, not just challenge rooms like Asylum, which I didn't care about and I didn't buy. But when you promised me stories, I was like, well, yeah, I'm totally in. I want to hold on to this forever.
I mean, I think the big argument is just like, oh, well, why didn't you just include it in the game to begin with? Like, why are you doing that? And I feel like when it is situations where that is true, then it's like, yeah, then it's bad. But for things like that where it's like, yeah, it is story, but it's side story. It's not part
ancillary
of
content.
The story. If they're holding back the story, that's an issue.
It's not the reboot Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
Where you have to buy the real ending and stuff.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? That was
yeah.
bullshit, obviously. And there are the handful of examples like that. But when we're talking about like an Evolve character skin or something like that, it's like, get over it.
Evolve
Who
was a
cares?
little out of control. I was going to use that game as an example of totally out of control DLC, but generally I have no problem with it. It shows somewhat a fundamental misunderstanding or lack of understanding or ignorance of how games are made when people say, why isn't it just in the real game? It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like it's not like they like had a blueprint and we're like, oh, we're going to now shave this half of the game off and make it DLC. Like, that's not the way it works. A lot of times, Greg and I have talked about in the past, when a game goes gold earlier, they're insert and there's just time to waste. That's when a lot of DLC is made for like quite a few games. And I remember people freaking out about Mass Effect 3 specifically having day one DLC, and my whole argument was just like, listen, dudes, like, no one's holding a gun to your head making you buy this game, and no one's holding a gun to your head making you buy that DLC. The reason they put that DLC out is because people want more Mass Effect, and there's an assumption being made that it could have or should have or would have been in the original game if not for the day one DLC drive. It just shows a lack of understanding of the way games are developed, I think. It's not to say that some companies and some developers don't shave off portions of their game or portions of the plan to be like, well, we can release this later. The game's already big enough as it is. But it is to say that we can't judge things on the metric of how much can we shove more content. More content doesn't make a better game.
Right.
Like, I think people need, like, I'd rather play a tight 5-hour game than a fucking laborious 20-hour game any day of the week. And if you give me that tight 5-hour game on a disc and you make me pay for the laborious bullshit that I don't want to play anyway, who cares? You know what I mean? Sometimes you reach your limit. Fallout's a great example, or Skyrim, where they release 4, 5, 6 DLC packs, like full stories. That's not going to be for everyone. And to complain and say like, well, the pit, Fort Pitt or whatever should have been in Fallout 3. It's like, well, the game's already 100 hours long. Like, how much more do you want? We have to just draw it back and approach it as a case by case basis. I think that people like need to chill out a little bit about the DLC arguments. It's getting a little old.
Arctic Sloth asks, why don't big name publishers like EA and Activision raise the price of their games and do away with microtransactions? I mean, I think the point of the microtransactions is those are what get people, and they make them spend more money.
Yeah,
It's
they're
like,
whale hunting.
Yeah,
And it works for them. The whales on a lot of these games are, even when you go into mobile space, when you talk about King and all these like developers are making millions and millions and millions of dollars a day, they're not making it off of their whole base, hardly at all. They're making it off of 1 or 2% of the people. I'm sure EA and Activision would fucking love to raise the price of games, but they can't. And I think that ultimately, even though we're seeing kind of contrary things in Canada where prices of games are going up again, that's more of a monetary issue. I think games are going to go down in price. And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier in the show with the digital revolution and stuff. When you can cut out the middleman, you can cut out shipping and manufacture of discs and GameStop's cut and all that kind of stuff, games can only get cheaper. So the microtransaction thing shouldn't be troubling if it's done right. But we've talked about EA is a great example of Plants vs. Zombies 2, where I was desperate to just buy that game.
yeah.
And they're like, nope, you can't buy
Blast.
it. Yeah, it's like, you can't buy it. And I'm like, I'll give you $20 if you just leave me the fuck alone. And now since you're bothering me all the time, I'm not giving you shit. I played that entire game without giving them a fucking cent. You know what I mean? So if they're doing it cleverly, then it works. And if they're doing it like a bunch of assholes, then it doesn't work.
But I think with the microtransactions, for every 10 of yous, there's one person spending $30 then there's another spending $100. You know what I mean?
That's
so I feel
the
like,
whale.
yeah,
The whole
just
mentality.
hedging their bets there.
They're not shy about talking about that kind of stuff. A lot of those developers.
And then DA Lar wants to know, game delays are often, but how come when they go gold early, they don't come out early, like Witcher 3?
This is an example of a plan, sticking to the plan. I think that CD Projekt Red was probably given more time than they needed, but the date was already established, and it gives them time to patch the game too. So there's no reason to rush the game out, and you don't want to like jump your release date. It's like announcing an album 6 months before it comes out, and then be like, oh, it's available 3 weeks early. Like that's bad marketing. That's bad for you. So even if the game's done,
everyone
hold it.
knows the May 19th, May 19th, May 19th. You've been saying
that's
it forever.
That's what's interesting though. Like, you know, with music, you just said that, but it's like I feel like recently people have been doing that constantly, just because that creates those news headlines.
well, I don't think that they've been announcing a date and then jumping in a month. I think a lot of people have been putting out records.
Well, I
out
mean,
of
like Kendrick
nowhere.
Lamar put out, like, he announced a date of like whatever it was, March 21st, and then he was like, you know, whatever, it's out March 14th.
Yeah, but some of these things are happening because of leaks.
That wasn't leaked though. That was just he just did it.
Like that happened though recently. A big album leaked. What was it?
I don't remember, but
Some female
Spice
artist.
Girls.
No, some female artist that I can't remember it. I think that we can't really compare. It's kind of apples and oranges. The music industry and the way they deal with albums is really
it's different.
It also doesn't really matter anymore
Mm-hmm.
because it's just a single mentality now. But yeah, CD Projekt Red has nothing to lose by holding on to the game.
Yeah.
Releasing it early would be stupid. Because it gives them time to iron the game. Just because the game is like, people have to understand that the fundamental thing of a game being gold means it's playable and it's done and it's past certification. It is not necessarily finished. That's unfortunately kind of the nature of design today, and making games. Patch 1.01 will surely be available when Witcher 3 comes out, and it's going to have a bunch of shit on it, I'm sure. I'd be shocked if that game didn't have a day one patch. Everything does. So yeah, give them time to breathe, and they also, you know, again, stick to the plan. The publisher also has a plan. It's not only up to the developer.
Mm-hmm. Well, cool. Thank you guys so much for the first and last ever 17th episode of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. And thank you guys for listening and supporting all this stuff and supporting us with all of our Pro Flowers goodness and all that. Thank you, Greg, for bringing
You're welcome.
3 of them. I liked that.
Maybe one day there'll be 3 different ones.
Maybe. Hey, but whatever. These are steps. We're figuring this all out. And thank you guys for being here with us as we figure it all out. It's a lot of fun being here. And till next week, please leave comments down below if you're on YouTube, or just like tweet at us if you're on Patreon listening.
If you're
or
listening
whatever.
to the MP3 and your mom's already at the podiatrist, just look down and write it on the bottom of your chair. Don't worry about the bunion.
I like that.
No problem.
Yeah. Let us know what you think of Star Ocean 5 on the bottom of a chair somewhere.
Thank you.
That'll be nice.
Take a
Until
photo,
next week.
tweet it at us.